Well, good morning again from Lake Bled. Now, if you watched my previous video, you'll know that I came here to this exact spot to photograph the castle with the Julian Alps right next to it at sunrise. Now, the intention was, of course, to get some lovely sunrise colours over the Julian Alps and over the castle itself. But of course that didn't happen because there was so much cloud. The cloud was so thick that there were no colours whatsoever at all. Well, this morning, this is actually the next day, as you can see, it's the complete opposite. There are no clouds whatsoever. Oh, I know, as landscape photographers, we're always complaining. It's never enough. It's too much cloud, it's not enough cloud. Well, the reason is that when it comes to the sunrise colours, the clouds really catch the light. Sunrise at sunset, when that sun dips below the horizon at sunset, or when that sun approaches the horizon and comes up over the mountains at sunrise, any high cloud or any scattered cloud around there gets lit with those beautiful warm golden hour colours. And that's what we need in order to get all of that colour in the sky. So obviously it's quite clear I'm not going to get that now. But at least there is some wispy mist along the surface of the lake. It's not much, but it's something to add to the drama. But like I showed you in the video yesterday, when you don't get what you want, then you just have to adapt to what you have. So in this case, of course, I've gone for a wider view to capture the reflection of the castle. Now from here you can get a wider view of the castle and the island church all together. And when the conditions are like this, then you can get a perfect mirror image, which is exactly what I've done. So I've set everything right down the middle and made everything nice and symmetrical. Now I've got a polarizer on there. The polarizer was working a bit more earlier when it was darker, but now it's not really having that much effect. So now the sky has become much brighter. I've put a 2-stop hard grad on there to darken down that sky, because the reflections are always darker. The reflections on the water are always darker than the sky itself. So in that case, you often need a grad for that. Well, I can clearly see the Julian Alps today, and sometimes it's always possible that when that sun comes up, there might be a bit of wispy cloud, or maybe some surface mist will appear across that lake when the sun comes up. But for sure, the sun is going to come up somewhere over there. So there's a good chance actually that when that sun comes up, that beautiful morning light will come streaming in through the valley and hit those mountain peaks there. That's actually what I'm hoping for at the moment. So let's see what happens, shall we? And now you can see they've turned off the lights on the castle and the church. So now there's not actually much point in taking pictures. Now, when you've got these blue hour colors, you need ideally any buildings or structures to be lit to really enhance the scene itself. Now those lights have gone off. Now it's not so good. Now I need to wait a little bit more for the sun to come up and start casting some warm light down across this lake, across those hillsides and forests, and across the castle and the church itself. So fingers crossed. Peak on the left is starting to glow. Still not the colour I'd hoped for. I think my orientation is off, because I think the sun may be coming up further over there. That's more kind of northeast. This is looking more north, it seems, and more to the northwest. Yeah, it makes sense actually, because the Julian Alps are in the northwest. So my orientation was completely off. Normally I'm in those hills over there, so right behind the island there is Zaka, and in those hills right behind the island is Mala Sojnica, and often I'm there photographing. And I have actually in the past been up there to photograph the sunrise in the summer at this time of year. So thinking about it, standing there looking straight over here, the sun must be coming up somewhere over there by the looks of it. I got a 3-stop soft grad on, and in this case it's really lightening the lake. I had a brief bit of golden hour colour on those mountain peaks, and that was it. Now it seems I need to wait for the sun to come up a bit higher to light the lake itself and fall. Hopefully I'll get some warm light falling on the church, the castle and the church and everything. And a little bit of cloud above the mountains. So I've gone in a bit closer. This is often what can happen. There can be zero cloud and all of a sudden a little bit of cloud drifts over, especially when the sun comes up and gives you at least something. Let's look at that augmented reality on photopills and see where the sun is actually coming up, shall we? So that's looking west, northwest. North is that way. The sun is actually behind me, coming up behind Kavana Park coffee shop. The place where I told you I wanted to stand. So the sun's coming up right behind me, completely off from where I thought it would. So we can see that the sun is about here now, and hopefully in about 20 minutes or so it'll come up above that and some nice light will fall upon the castle, cliffside and the trees and the lake itself. And with a bit of luck, that cloud over the Julian Alps will continue to build up. Already feel the warmth. See the warmth of the light starting to slowly appear as that sun has now come up over the horizon and slowly starting to cast some warmer light on across the lake and the hillsides and those trees there and the castle itself. And now there is some lovely wispy cloud over the Julian Alps there, so something, at least something. Would much prefer to have some nice wispy broken streaky cloud across the whole of the castle and the Alps themselves, but nope, I'll take what I can get. Oi. Hey. Now, isn't that the best view ever? So if I can show you here my composition. So I'm focusing obviously on the castle itself, and I've got the castle here and this little boathouse down here and this lovely little house down here, then with the main part of the Julian Alps here. These have a really nice interesting shape and ridges to them, which I think are much more interesting, and it's better to go in close to show these. Now again, as I said, it's a little bit of wispy cloud coming in over, so it's giving me something at least, and it's not a completely featureless sky. Now as that sun comes up, it's going to cast some warmer light down here on the castle, on the cliffside and across these forested hills, and that's exactly what I'm waiting for. And you can see on the live view, if I move this around, this is my focus point, but it also acts when you're using, like I am, aperture priority. So in this case, I've chosen the aperture. I've set the ISO at 200 and I've chosen the aperture of f16. And so the camera then measures the light from here. So if I move it over to here, you can see it goes darker because now it's seeing a brighter sky. And it's now setting me a shutter speed of f13. If I take it back to my focal point here, it's much darker. Now you can see that the overall scene is brightening up, and it's now giving me a shutter speed of 1/4 of a second. So if where you're focusing is not the right place to measure the light, that's where the exposure compensation comes in. So if this wasn't quite right, I could dial it down a notch, -1, or I can take it up a notch, +1. So I can brighten the exposure by going up 1, or darken the exposure by going down 1. Now I can see on the screen already, but you can also tell by your histogram whether you've got the right exposure. So if I take that to -1, I can see that that will be underexposed, but I can also see it on the live view picture. If I take it to +1, you can see that that would be overexposed. So now you can see that the histogram is being pushed off the edge, and so the sky would start to burn out. So I can tell from that, from the histogram, plus also looking on the live view itself, that the exposure here is just right. So where I'm focusing is also the right place to measure my light too. What I really like about these cameras is that we've got the spirit level inside as well. So I can make sure everything is nice and level. Everything's nice and tight. So this is the composition I'm going to sit with. I also like this, I don't know if it's kind of a little bit of light wispy mist across the lake surface itself. So I really like that. It's given a nice bit of foreground interest. It's not just water itself, you know, there's some texture on the water too. And I think when the sun comes up, it's going to cast some lovely warm light down on this boathouse across here, and it's going to look really, really nice. And this is the reason I've also taken the neutral density filter off, because I don't actually need, because I'm going in close, I'm not worried about ripples on the lake. I don't want to smooth out the lake. I don't need to. When I was pulled back, I needed to. I can show you one of the previous pictures we took earlier. There we go. In the case here, when I pulled back, I wanted to smooth out all the water. But now I don't want to, because I'm going in close. So that's why I've taken the neutral density filter off. I don't need it, and I don't need a long exposure. There's not enough cloud in the sky moving to warrant a long exposure. So now we wait. And now the light's falling. Now it's coming. So there you have it, sunrise at Lake Bled. Still not quite what I wanted. Still didn't get the actual sunrise colours and the cloud over there, but still, it was a nice morning. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and the previous video, and maybe in another video I'll also get up here and get the sunrise colours from this location. It's a great viewpoint, as you can see. The castle, that little bit of the Julian Alps. It's the only place, the only location here in Lake Bled where you can actually get the Julian Alps alongside. You can't get the Julian Alps with the island church, of course, but you can get them in the frame. Well, you can get them with everything if you pull back in a wider view. But this is the place where you can really get close up and get the castle and the Julian Alps in the frame. So thanks for watching, as always, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and check out my other videos, and catch you later.